Niners fans, how we feeling? Those faithful to the... So, about yesterday, right? Dang it, darn it. This sometimes isn't the best of Mondays, right? Especially if you're a San Francisco 49ers fan. Let's just talk about it real quick. Like, let's just pull off the Band-Aid and rip it off. Is that what they say, so to speak? So the Niners lost yesterday to the Bucs, and also they lost Fred Warner to a season-ending injury. Yes, he, among other things, I believe he broke and also dislocated his ankle, among other things. So that's devastating, isn't it? Right? It's like in the first 6 weeks, the Niners are, have lost Nick Bosa and also Fred Warner for the season. Let's just talk about it. Is it too late? Is it too late this season? Too late for the Niners? I'll tell you what, probably yes. I'm thinking yes, it is too late. This season is now too late for the Niners to do something like win a Super Bowl, right? Can the Niners compete? Yes, they compete. They can field a team and they will compete for wins. How about Super Bowl aspirations? I think that those have been taken off the table. And I'll tell you what, I think that if the Niners had true Super Bowl aspirations this season, they would have already been doing so. They would have already had made moves when Nick Bosa went down. So, like, what do I mean? I mean that the Niners didn't strike when the iron was hot. The Niners lost Nick Bosa, however, like weeks ago now, right? It was almost 3 weeks ago. And so everybody knew that the Niners are still down, like they don't have a pass rush. They haven't had a pass rush, but the thing is that the Niners had a good record when Nick Bosa went down. They still have a good record. However, the iron was hot. It's not really hot anymore, and the Niners haven't struck. So, and I had said this in the past, it's like the Niners had a little bit of like house money to work with, so to speak, but not like this. Like the Niners could have taken a few week injury to a player, but not like another catastrophic injury to your best player and maybe the best player, the best football player in the entire NFL. So in my opinion, and this stinks, and I'm not trying to be a punk here, but it's like, because the Niners weren't diligent about getting a needed piece when Bosa went down, I don't think that I don't think that they have the capability of now getting somebody who helps rush the passer and also a defensive friggin' leader and a stud at linebacker. Now, hear me out there. Hypothetically, if the Niners had, say, traded for a Bradley Chubb or Kayvon Thibadeaux weeks ago, and they had proven to be even somewhat capable of a pass rush. So say that the Niners, because Kayvon Thibadeaux will probably be had for mid-round picks. So probably, well, maybe like a third and then a fifth or a few fifths. Okay. So say the Niners had made that trade for Thibadeaux. So now the Niners have a decent pass rush. Now, this is my C-Train make-believe land but we will only make believe for a minute here, seriously, and then we go back to reality. In that reality, though, where it's like you go into a game with Kayvon Thibadeaux on one end, right? Mykel Williams, who's really starting to blossom on the other end, and then you lose Fred Warner. Stop. Then you lose Fred Warner. Okay. The Niners could still conceivably have a shot, because that's when you go, okay, what do we have in Nick Martin and Tatum Bethune? Immediately, what do we have in them? And also, you know what? I think that Demarrio Davis of the Saints, who's been like a Saint for so, if he wants to compete for a Super Bowl, let's trade for him on pennies on the dollar. Is Demarrio Davis old? Yes, he's like 36. Is he still dynamic and also productive? Yes. So in that world where like the Niners sacrificed a little bit of future draft capital for for a pass rush this season, and then you lose Warner, I think that that something can possibly be done. But look, you have now lost two huge players on defense, and you're not going to get them back this season. And the thing is like, you don't know if your front office is fighting for you or not, right? The Niners haven't made any moves. In the offseason, they didn't make any moves, right? So, in my opinion, John Lynch and company in the front office did enough to say, I did enough. And like, sure, the Niners on paper were a competitive team this season and still are. They are going to win games and will be competitive, but it's not about that. It's about those margins. The margins in big games against high quality and caliber competition, the margins get slimmer and slimmer. And look, this is nothing against Tatum Bethune and Nick Martin. And I believe linebacker Nick Martin, he's a rookie for the Niners out of Oklahoma State. I believe they have bright futures in the NFL, just not now and not under this circumstance. I think it's going to be very difficult, right? So like, of course, we were in my make-believe land and whatnot, and it's like, but here's another thing. In my C-Train make-believe land, what if I told you this? This is a fact. This is the truth. On the play that Fred Warner got injured, the Niners only had 10 players on the field. You are supposed to have 11. The Niners didn't have a player on the field because it's rumored that Trevian Gibson, I believe his name is, was their defensive end, right? He's a defensive end, but look, it is rumored that he had just been on a special teams play and was confused about whether he is playing on the defense or just special teams. So that's what the rumor is. But hear me out, because that's important. Again, Fred Warner went out on a play. He got injured on a play where the Niners only fielded 10 players on defense. So it's like under my hypothetical situation where the Niners front office tried, at least an inkling of trying to get better at the defensive, about a better pass rush, right? They probably would have had that player on the field and probably would have fielded 11 players. Hindsight's 2020. Everything's different, a butterfly effect or whatever, right? Like, you never know what's going to happen. Seriously, right? We never know what's going to happen, day-to-day lives. But you had a better chance. The Niners had a better chance if they had done something, anything in the nature of a positive direction after Nick Bosa got injured. Now it's like, I don't think that the Niners emotionally on defense can take emotionally the loss of their two best players. I just don't think that's, but like, if you were to have done like, okay, look, now Kayvon Thibadeaux is here in my make-believe world again. Okay, you know what? It's now Warner is sure. Is it at the end of the world? Is absolutely, but maybe you still got a shot. Maybe the Niners front office can pull off some crazy for Demarrio Davis, right? So that's not going to happen. It didn't happen, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay. I definitely know that the Niners front office could have done more and chose not to. I believe that they were being patient, waiting on maybe a player like Trey Hendrickson to be available. But in that waiting, the Niners, who were vulnerable, got even more vulnerable. And a record that might not even stand up as they're 4-2 right now, like that was due to favorable competition, competition's going to get a little bit stiffer. It's going to get a little bit tougher. And now you don't have those players. So it's going to get more difficult for sure. But I'll tell you what, in my honest opinion, I believe that the Niners can't go back in time. It'd be very difficult. It'd be a whole different story whatsoever, right? But I think that the Niners are still in great position to make the playoffs. In the playoffs, I don't think that they'll do a whole lot of damage unless they are playing a team that's a little bit limited offensively. I think that the Niners, anyway, so, but it's sort of their own decision making. The Niners chose to go a certain direction based off of a few veterans and a lot of sort of role players and rookies, young players, and many of those veterans got injured early, almost all of them, right? Kittle, Brock Purdy, Warner, and Bosa. All of your captains, everybody. So that just makes it difficult. Wow. And like there's like a windstorm going on, and like just the Siri or Google did some crazy stuff just now. Sorry for the interruption, but hey, strange things happen sometimes at C-Train Station, that I can tell you. But anyways, so I would expect like trades are going to be coming up and whatnot. I would say the Niners should probably be just be prudent with their decision making, but I would love for them to jettison the contracts and like Jawan Jennings and Isaac Urendo. I would love to see the Niners move on from them and just get a pass rusher. Give the team a shot. Like the Niners, even with Nick Martin, like linebacker Tatum Bethune, they still have any type of shot if you could just get them a pass rush, any pass rush. But depending on Michael Williams and like Bryce Huff, who is a reclamation project at like a best darn near, it's not giving your team the ingredients even. You're not, like quality in, quality out, some people would say. And it's like you're not giving your team that fighting chance, in my opinion, if they're that short on like a pass rusher. And they really, really are. And it stinks that the Niners didn't do anything while it's so glaring. It's still glaring, and they have a little bit of time, but I think that the Niners have less time than they think that they have. I think that the Niners are really banking on like a win against the Falcons, and I think that win's going to be difficult to come by if you don't shore up your defensive line. Anyways, so I think there's even more. Like the Niners' offensive line has been good on paper, but like not good in real life, so that's difficult. So the Niners have, they got some holes, but there is some positivity to be had, as in good offensive players are coming back, and the Niners still banked those wins early. You never know what's going to happen in the NFL. You absolutely never know what's going to happen. So Niners fans, should you lose a little bit of hope? Absolutely. 100% lose some hope. But don't stop believing. Don't stop believing just yet. I'll tell you when. And it's not this week. So until next time, of course, for your Niners content, like, follow, subscribe, comment, say what's up in the comments below. And I'll see you next time at C-Train Station. Have a good one. That was such a modest hoot toot on the horn. It's tough. Fred Warner went down yesterday. Stronger C-Train hoots in the future for sure. Take care.